Welcome back to Shire Travels. This is the Friday Fast 5. In this one, we're going to South Australia and I'm going to tell you about 5 places that are steeped in natural beauty. Number 1 is Ewens Ponds. This is just over the border from Victoria in South Australia, about 25 km south of Mount Gambier. What makes this place so special? You might be thinking, a pond really? Dive down beneath the surface and it is incredible. So the ponds are limestone ponds. The water that comes through the limestone is filtered and it is crystal clear. It is unreal just how far you can see down to the bottom. The water clarity, it is amazing. When I first heard about this place, it was when overland travellers were doing their first lap of Australia. You could turn up there, get in, swim, do whatever you wanted, come and go, and it was free. You do now have to pay and you always have to book a time slot. It is a little bit over-regulated in my opinion. It is cold water though. It is around 15-16 degrees. So they do say that you have to wear a wetsuit, gloves, boots. You can also wear a wetsuit with a part that goes over your head as well, and gloves. We hired wetsuits and all the gear from a place just outside of Mount Gambier, and I do have to say I think it was definitely worth it. The water is a bit chilly and it takes about half an hour to swim through the pools. You can get cold, so I definitely recommend hiring gear. It is absolutely beautiful. Such a unique and interesting spot. Even though you do have to pay, etc., I would say it's definitely worth doing once. Number 2 is Flaherty's Beach on the Yorke Peninsula. This is a stunning, beautiful beach. It is in between Port Turton and Hardwick Bay. You can actually drive onto the beach at either of those points. It's a beach which is around about 7 kilometers long. It is huge. The water there is really shallow. The tide goes out for miles and it leaves behind lots of sandbars and little pools. Now it is an ideal place if you have young kids because the pools heat up in the sun. They're nice and warm. You can spend hours there splashing around. You can drive on the beach and set yourself up. Just make sure you watch the tides. You don't want to have yourself all set up and then realize that the tide is creeping in. Because it's so shallow, it can come in quite quickly and then you realize, oh gosh, it's almost up to the car. A really beautiful spot. As I said, the beach is huge, so it's quite easy to find yourself a spot all by yourself and spend the day there enjoying the beautiful water. The next spot is Brachina Gorge in the Flinders Ranges. Now, it's hard to find a bad spot in the Flinders Ranges, but I've specifically chose Brachina Gorge because it is pretty accessible in terms of other places that you can drive to in the Flinders Ranges. It also is free, which again, compared to a lot of places in the Flinders Ranges where you have to pay for drives, it's nice to get something free. And you can also park up kind of wherever you want, make a bit of a day of it. We found a beautiful spot next to a cliff wall. It had a bit of shallow water flowing through it, and we could just set ourselves up there for the day. There were emus getting around as well. A really beautiful spot. It's quite a big area, so it's not hard to find yourself a spot somewhere along the drive through that gorge to set up for the day. The whole drive from Wapina Pound up to say Bunyaroo Gorge to Parachilna is just stunning through there, so definitely add it to your list if you're heading to the Flinders Ranges. Number 4, and I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, is Nora Creina Bay. I don't know if it is pronounced Creina or if it's Creina. This is a spot near Roe, near Little Dip Conservation Park. Now there are heaps of beaches along this coastline. However, I've specifically chosen this spot because out of all the places that we visited when we were driving around that area from Beachport to Roe, we found that this bay was the most protected. It was the calmest water. A lot of other beaches there you just couldn't swim at. The waves were too big, currents were too strong. We found that this beach was really beautiful and calm. Another great thing, you can drive onto it as well, set yourself up for the day. It's got a few kind of rock pools at one end as well. It's a really, really beautiful spot. Number 5 is Tantanoola Caves. This is around about 25 minutes from Mount Gambier. A really beautiful spot. So we have been to Margaret River and we've done some of the big caves there and we're really impressed. And the area around Mount Gambier is really interesting. There's a lot of limestone there. There's lots of caves and sinkholes and things like that. And this cave is a great one because you can go inside and see it. Now, one thing that we really loved about this cave is that it was pram friendly. So the ones in Margaret River, for example, you do have to go up and down a lot of stairs. This one was fantastic. There's quite a lot of places we've been when you have young kids who aren't quite walking yet. You just think, oh, that's just gonna be too difficult. I can't carry them around for the whole time. This one was great. We could leave her in her pram the whole time, walk around, have a look at the beautiful cave. Now, it is a small cave, but in saying that, it is really stunning. The tour guides there were fantastic. You get to go in as part of a small group, so I think there was maybe only about 15 of us. After they had talked us through all the interesting features of the cave, we also had time to walk around by ourselves and get some pictures. Definitely a spot worth visiting. That was the Friday Fast 5, and I will see you in the next one.